Okay, Dave, don't say anything stupid. And there we go. I think we got it. Holy crap. It
Hey,
only
you're
took
2 minutes early.
Yeah. Yeah. Am I 2 minutes early? I think I'm probably still late, although I just dragged our windows way out of frame. Okay.
I gave you the benefit of the doubt. I said 7:40 would start.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thanks. Thanks, buddy. Oh, my camera is still pretty dark too. Okay. But we're good. We're good. Thank you for, this is like a super last minute for anybody wondering. This was like incredibly last minute. So I'm glad we
like
got it
yesterday.
Yeah, but like more like even just today. Yesterday was just like, hey, we should do it. And then today it was like, I guess we're doing this thing. And then it's like, oh, we're already going. So like, let's just keep this rolling. So, all right. I think it's a little bright. What do you think? A little bright?
A little bit.
A little bright. That's better. Let's even it out. All right. Oh, my shirt's backwards though, isn't it? Why does it flip it? Oh, that's useless.
That's right. I'm mine.
Pardon?
That's right. I'm mine.
That's a me setting then. Oh my god.
Mine's backwards on mine though, I think, isn't it?
Pardon? I don't know. Can you read my shirt?
Oh, everything on mine's backwards.
Yeah.
You guys is right.
Oh, that's weird.
Exact same. Yeah, I can see your piston head perfect.
Okay, here's the problem though: is I'm recording this screen, so they're gonna see it as backwards. So I just look like an idiot.
As long as yours when it's backwards, we're good.
Whatever. Who cares? It's fine. Yeah, as long as mine's the only one that's backwards. So
as long as they can read my new sponsor that's coming for 2022 here.
Right. Yes.
We'll be good.
Is that what does it say? Upload? Oh no, back there. Oh,
sure. The best beverage available.
Gotcha. Nice. Label out. Perfect. First question of the day, Fred Maybach. Why does Dave love long handbrake entries?
Because my stock handbrake works so good that it just looks super cool.
Are you still running a stock handbrake?
Yes, sir.
Nice. I mean, I have some mad respect for that because not a lot of guys have the balls to do that.
Should I tell the story of why Fred asked this question?
Sure. I'm assuming you gave people shit about it.
No. We were talking for the first comp and we're discussing like entries and stuff. Anybody that knows me knows I generally don't use the handbrake.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm going in the first turn just doing like a super long handbrake pull. And he believed me. So when we drove together, he thought I was going to do a handbrake pull. Oh, I was totally messing with him. So
did he run into you? Like, was he?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, Fred's a killer driver.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad to hear. Good job, Fred. Hopefully I'm hoping the delay is not super long, but it might be a little bit. But I mean, it is what it is. I forgot to change it because we were last minute. So.
It works, hopefully.
Oh man, so how's everything been? I haven't talked to you guys, and we haven't had a conversation in what probably. I think Matt and I have had a couple of weird phone calls. I think I talked to Dave once. I talked to Dave about being a fill-in driver. Yep. That's been about it. So. Yeah, what do you guys been up to? Like, I know Dave's driving. I haven't seen Matt do any driving, but
I just talk about it. I just talk about driving.
That's all.
I've seen Matt do like 3 laps in the last 3 years. He's doing pretty good.
That's not bad.
Yeah, a lap a year. I'm happy. I'm content.
That's all you need. I mean, how many drifters out there that have the same stats where like they talk a big game, but then they literally drive once every 3 years?
We're giving Matt the secret sauce now, though, so he's gonna get some seat time.
I hope so.
Is that an LS? Is that the secret sauce?
It is.
It is.
They just kind of work. Like, as much as I'm not like a big LS fan, they just kind of work, and that's the nice thing.
Matt likes LSs less than he likes giraffes. I'll just throw that out there.
True.
So, and he's still going to one.
I am. I'm very uncertain of this whole LS from SR thing.
From SR, yeah, that's like 2 different worlds. That's not even a conversation.
Yeah. Right. So I've had SRs since day one, and I had 3 years, 0 problems. Then blew one up, rebuilt one. No, sorry, I didn't even blow it up. I was just low on compression. I knew nothing about the engine as far as health-wise. So went through the whole thing, got the compression up, everything was fine. Ran it for 3/4 of the season, and it blew up. Rebuilt it over the wintertime. Got it together and started driving in the spring, blew that up like 2 or 3 events into the year, took it apart. And then Dave and some other people helped me, just watch me make sure that I did everything right. Got it together, lasted I don't even think it was a whole event. Then I was like, screw this. I'm sending it out. I actually paid a guy to rebuild the whole thing for me and got it in the car, made it to I mean, how many passes did I make, Dave? 8, 10 passes?
I don't even know if you did that many.
I don't even know if I did that many, and I blew it up.
What did you like? Was it the same failure every time or different failures?
Different fails every time.
Was it the same block or same head or anything?
Everything was different. I have like 4 SR engines and blocks, and I just took the best of what I had to make it all work. That's crazy. So after 3 years of having this SR issue and like trying everything, like paying someone who builds SRs to build an SR engine and whatever. So I said, screw it, sold everything SR, found a good deal on an LS, bought the LS, and now I'm deep in it.
Deep in it.
Yeah. So I've got Dave, Alex, and Ray, some other teammates that all have LS engines, helping me because I don't know dick about LS engines. I just know that they're heavier and they work. So I'm going with that. They have more pistons, I think.
A few. I think a couple more.
I've
the only V8 that I've drifted is the BMW I've got now, and I kind of like it. I kind of like that instant torque of like you just go into a corner, you start putting some load on the wheels, and you just and then it's an angle, and you're like, oh, okay, that's it. Like I don't have to spool anything up. I don't have to think well in advance of like when I need to set up the corner. I can literally, especially like. I'm not like a pro level drifter. I'm not a high level drifter at all. I'm still like, I'd probably still be maybe B group in most places, realistically. I'm not a great driver. I've never said I was. I think sometimes people assume I am. I'm like, no, I'm terrible. I just have a big mouth about it. But, but yeah, like to get back into drifting, it was really nice to just be able to like go into a corner, literally like I feel the suspension roll, feel it load up, and then once that suspension was loaded up, I just gave it like a quick like wah, and then the back end comes out, and then it's just trying to modulate it. But it was really weird for me not to have the engine screaming all the time. I'm so used to having a car just bouncing off the rev limiter in a corner, and I kept doing that and kept spinning, and I was like, why am I spinning? And some of it's just like it's got no angle, and the wheel catches at full lock and shit, but like it was more than that. And I watched the footage back. I'm like, I'm on throttle the whole time. And then, just once I learned that like, no, it's a lot more like, like in the beginning until you find that spot. Right. Like, I don't know how you've got your car tuned, Dave. Like, I know you rev pretty high through most of it, but I think we're comparing two different things, right? We're comparing vastly different horsepower too.
Yeah. The big thing I tell people, like my SR was more fun to drive, but the LS is like a cheat code, especially if you're doing comps and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I can let my car come down like 2,500 RPM, just put my foot back in it, and it just lights back up. Like I'm not clutch kicking it, I'm not doing any goofy stuff, just drive it.
I think. Well, Rad Dan, I don't know if you watched the last FD, and I know Dave's got some strong opinions on that round and judging in particular. So we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that. But one of the things that I think Rad Dan said, I think it was the Edelbrock Tech Talks or something. I don't know if you caught that. But they were talking about I think adding nitrous. I know he was talking about adding nitrous. But anyways, he's like it's nice to like if I'm chasing someone and I need to like get into it a little bit more, it's nice to have that nitrous. And for him, he only runs it between like 1,500 to like I think it was like 3,500 or something like that, just before the turbo spools.
Yeah, just get it spool up.
But once he's in the boost, then he doesn't run it at all, which I mean I get. You're trying to get that huge power band, right? So yeah, I mean that down low power is kind of nice.
But doesn't that just spool like into the turbo, not in through the whole engine?
No, I think his is like into the engine. I think it progressively drops as boost comes in. So like he might be like a 250 shot at 1,500 RPM, but then he's like a 50 shot at like 3,100 RPM kind of thing.
I see.
So it's just to give him that missing horsepower all the way through the RPM line.
Give him 2 extra cylinders.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I'm sure if you did the math, like you could probably look at it very similar to that.
He did look really good there. And
you know what he reminds me of is like a young Ryan Turk. Like I know he's like older. I think he's older than Turk, or they're close to the same age. But like Turk early in his career used to do the same shit. Where you're like, here it is, like holy shit, he's gonna do it, and then like take himself out and you're like, what the fuck? Like you were right there. You were right there.
Yeah. I feel like he's a little bit scared of walls. I don't know why. Like
he likes his supers too much. That's the problem.
Yeah,
he needs to write it off.
He's paid the wall a couple times. So
yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely gotten into it a few times.
I almost think he needs to write a car off completely just to understand, but like, hey, this is the worst that's going to happen, right? Like, get that out of the way.
Didn't
And
he do that with his last car though?
oh yeah, that's a good point. So I don't know what he needs. Then I don't know. What, he definitely needs to learn something. I just don't know what it is yet. But he's close. He's super close.
That's a couple more Supras, and that'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's not like you're using a chassis. That's hard to
got
find.
quiet on my end. Did I lose my internet?
Oh, Dave's bad internet showing.
Oh, Dave's going.
Dave the robot. Oh, Dave the robot. I think he might be back. I was kind of expecting it. I'm kind of happy it happened. We got it out of the way.
Actually, I'm gonna cut my phone off so it's not pulling any.
The internet's just like that. Be like, nope, no more Wi-Fi's. That's funny.
So back to LS stuff. So I drove Chris. I don't even know how to say his last name. Katrupi. Is that how you say his last name, Dave? Yeah. Super rad dude. Yeah, super rad dude. He's competed in Pro 2. He's got a S chassis, S13 hatch with a 5 liter, or is it a 6 liter? Or is it a 5.3? I think
6 liter.
6 liter. So it's aluminum. He's got a supercharger on it, and it was like 530 at the wheels. And he's like, yeah, like just third gear through the whole track. And I'm like, what? There's no way. Like, if I was in an SR, I'd be like second gear down to like first, back into second, maybe into third. He's like, no, just leave it in third the whole time. I was struggling to get traction up to the first turn because I was just like, had so much wheel speed. I ended up just dropping it into second, lighting that up, getting into third, and then just riding it all the way around. Like Dave said, dropped down 2,500 RPM, got right back in it. It's just like, it's like Dave said, a cheat code.
Yeah.
So at that point, I feel like it comes down to chassis setup. But going from the SR to the LS, there's quite a bit more weight in the front. So I'm curious to see how that's going to, affect how the car rotates and how it, maintains grip in turn. Like, I don't know. I'm just curious to see how it's all going to happen.
I mean, you'll have to change your suspension to adapt to it, right? Like you'll have to, you'll have to look into doing like it depends on what the problem is realistically, right? It'll be fun to see the difference though, because like I feel like things like, and once again I don't know, but I mean just seeing how drivers drive the LS cars, like when they left foot brake, you kind of can see it a bit more. I think just because there's so much weight hanging out that like you can really watch that front end dip. Like Odie to me is like the ultimate left foot breaker. He's so good at it, but like you can watch his car dive into it like that. Whereas like the cars that aren't quite as heavy in the front, you don't, maybe just because the way, like how soft they have to run the suspension depending on the weight advantage.
Odie's car is super soft. That's why you see all that.
Yeah.
Very soft.
So an aluminum LS is not much heavier than an SR, and it's like lighter than a KA setup. So if you have an aluminum block,
yeah,
right. I was say if you have an aluminum block,
you have an iron block, like 100 pounds. So,
but yeah, I guess anybody in FD is going to have an aluminum block. I mean, I can't think of anybody who has an iron block. Maybe has a spare, like just in case.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't have a problem with V8. I'm curious, like what happens next? Like what's the next chassis? What's the next engine? Like we're seeing the Supras in now, but like I think there's still some struggle with them. Like Ken hasn't looked very good in it. Osbo arguably hasn't. He's looked good at times, but there's still like development that needs to happen. Yeah. But I don't know like what's I think, I mean, as a guess, I'll bet you in like 5 or 6 years, we're going to see a whole bunch of Kia Stingers out there because they're not producing them anymore. And they make decent juice. Like they make, I think 380 or something like that. And you just got to find a transmission. Yeah, no, they're done. They haven't yet, but they are going to, which means any car that gets discontinued like that, you usually see the resale drop like crazy, like the price, but then it'll pick up again because there won't be as many out there. Right.
Right. You're talking like grassroots driving now, right?
Yeah. I don't think it'll be pro, but like, I mean, pro wise, like it's always going to be new chassis. I'm almost positive that we'll see Osbo in the new Z chassis. The alternator. I don't know what that was called. You know what the track car he's got?
You said Osbo?
No, sorry, Forsberg. I'm sorry, Forsberg.
Okay, I was like, what?
No, I was wondering why you guys look so confused.
I'm pretty sure he's already got one.
Well,
he's already got one.
Yeah, I don't. Does he have a new, like the new? What is it? The 400Z? I can't remember.
Yeah, Z400.
Is that? Does he have one already?
That's the impression I'm under.
Okay. I haven't.
Yep, he said this is the last year for his 370.
Okay.
So
who else would have a chassis change coming up? Hopefully Trenton Beecham. But I can't think of anybody else.
Turk might change to the new Supra.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then have a pair of them.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to be like Hamilton and Bottas in F1? Like that'll be Turk and Osbo?
Hopefully we'll find out.
I mean, Turk's doing really well, but I'm curious if that comes into play. I don't know. They haven't had to battle each other though. I think they did once last year.
So the most controversial driver in FD. What about Taylor Hall going to a Corvette?
Is that what he's doing? Is going to a Corvette?
Yep.
So
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
I think for him, okay. So putting aside any of his controversies, right? I think as a driver, if we get rid of everything else from his team's perspective, it's the best thing he could do. The parts have already been developed, and you've got it now. It can happen.
His chassis is obviously not the best out there. It's cool, but it's not the best chassis.
Yeah.
Corvette is arguably one of the best, so it'd be very interesting to see.
It'd be interesting to see his transition to driving a completely different chassis that is, 800 pounds lighter and, the same power.
Yeah, with more grip.
Yeah.
Way more grip, yeah.
Way more grip. Yeah, because there's kits available. There's nothing for him, right? Like
right.
not to the level of FDF or WiseFab or something like that. Part Shop Max, right?
Right.
My official stance on the Taylor Hall thing is like I think some of the stuff isn't necessarily on purpose. I think a lot of it's reactionary, that like as a driver, everybody reacts differently in an incident, and his turning away from the incident and like driving away from it, I would like to give him the benefit of the doubt that is a reaction of being hit. That it's not where he's like, oh, he hit me. Oh, well, I win this one. I think it's like he got hit, and like that, he hasn't been hit enough. He hasn't been driving long enough. He hasn't been in a lot of wrecks that his nerves are hardened to be like, I've been hit, I'll keep driving. Like, what was the battle that happened this weekend where like there was a big hit? I want to say it was an Osbo one.
No, Sorensen got freaking straight up T-boned on the Just kept driving.
But that is a lack of fear. He doesn't know any better. He is so young that he doesn't know that should be a problem. He's got the opposite issue.
Yeah, he drove that like a freaking animal.
He was killing it.
But that's my thought with Taylor. I think some of the shit could be games. There have been games played in the past by a lot of different drivers. And I think he maybe gave it a shot, got his pee-pee slapped for it, and I'm hoping he becomes a better driver out of it. I obviously there's some crazy shit going on with his family. I feel for him on that one. If whatever your thoughts are, that sucks. Like even if you think he's an asshole and does stupid shit, doesn't matter. That sucks. So I'm hoping that his family members pull out. But anyways,
I don't know anything about that stuff. But
I
always like to think that nobody really plays games like that. Some of it, it's debatable.
There's strategy though. They're
trying to win at the end of the day.
Yeah. I don't think a game like that, or like stuttering off the line or something else, there could be a lot of factors on that. It could be a series of unfortunate events that all happened. I don't think so. I think there was something that was happening, whether he was just trying it out or like, hey, what if I just delay for like half a second? What do you think would happen? Right. Yeah. Or car's not in gear. It's ECU issue. We've seen all those, and just a whole bunch of those piled up at the same time. I don't know. Nobody knows but him, realistically. Yep. So anyways, Dave, so judging, let's do this. I want to hear your thoughts about the judging. No, I'm curious. I saw your post. I know you're heated about it. So
from the last round or in general?
Let's go the last round in particular, and I'm sure we're going to bridge into in general.
Okay. Before I voice my opinion on it, I talked to one of the FD judges at Erie, and one of the questions I asked him was, does judging suck as bad as I think it does? His response was, absolutely.
Was it Lantain? Because I'm pretty sure he told me the same thing.
I don't think it was.
Okay.
I didn't recognize the guy I talked to.
That's all good. Must be the new guy. Anyways.
It wasn't Brian Eggert. It was the other one.
Yeah,
the new
must
guy.
have been a new guy then.
Anyways.
It's tough, man. Especially being in the car and seeing things happen, and then seeing videos. I had an incident at this last event that from my car, it looked like I was going to T-bone somebody, and like I got on the brakes, like scared I was going to hit him. I watched the video, you can't even tell. So like the judges didn't see that. So
well, I mean, you're saying you can't even tell that the car you were chasing slowed down.
Yeah,
so you're saying
exactly.
enough
Like,
to run your brakes.
he couldn't get it in the third gear, so he never accelerated. And I was coming up behind him like fast to the point it scared me. And then I watched the video, and I'm a car length back. You can't tell he slows down. Like you cannot tell from the outside at all. So trying to judge that's rough. And then some of the calls though, it's tough.
So I believe one of your arguments was that they were favoring some of the OG guys, right? So
it appears that way for sure.
To play devil's advocate, it could be that they are so used to seeing those drivers drive the way that they do on these courses that if somebody does something that is different, that is, that could be why they're calling it, right? Because there are multiple ways to enter. There are multiple ways to transition. There are multiple different ways you can run that track and still do well. But I think maybe the judging is so used to how drifting has been that anything radical, like Forrest Wang was a great example. He did everything that they asked him to do. He was in all the zones. He had tons of angle. Did he have all the speed that those guys did? Not always. But he still ran the course in a time, but it was so different than anybody else.
He also looked far better doing it, but
I agree. 100%. He was, dude, I miss Forrest Wang and FD. Just
bring back Forrest Wang.
Yes, absolutely. I was actually cracking up because in this event they kept talking about mirroring the driver's angle, and then we all know this one with James Dean. James Dean won an entire championship on that because that's exactly what I'm talking about.
But he found the rule. He looked at the rules and went, "Hey, they want proximity more than mirroring an angle," and he went, "Okay, I get more points if I do this. I can sacrifice angle," and that dude just fucking. For 8 rounds, just planted his fender on people's doors. And that's all he did. Just headlight to door the whole time. So, but I mean, that's the strategy of it. He read the rule book and understood how to play the game. And he's also incredibly talented, but go on.
Absolutely. Back to the judging call. So the OG thing and that, going back a couple rounds to Jersey, the Jonathan Hurst call against Field, going one more time. That was brutal. That
was wrong.
Yeah. I tried to see the other side of the fence, and I can't see that one. They just straight up owned him.
I'd have to watch it again, but I do remember being like, why are we doing so many one more times here?
Like, I wish there was a possibility to have like a crowd GoFundMe as the penalty for
Adam LZ would win every fucking event then. Are you kidding me?
Fair enough.
I know what you're saying though.
Isn't it $200 to challenge the call or whatever?
I think so. Yeah.
Like yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Jonathan didn't have the money, but if he did have the money, he had to really think about if he wanted to spend it or not, for sure. Yeah. But I mean, if he would have made a post like, I want to challenge this call, I don't have $200, it'd be like, dude, I'm PayPaling you 50 right now. Yeah. Not even a question. Here you go. Take my money. Like,
well, yeah. I think they only have a short period of time.
Yeah.
Like
it's like 15 minutes after your run. It's not. But you still have to go. You used to have to go through Robbie Nishida. I don't know who they have now, but remember you had to present it to them before you even paid. It had to go to them, and they had to say, yes, this is a valid case. And the only one I ever remember somebody winning was Kaufman because the other driver jumped the line. It wasn't caught, and their dash cam caught it. That was in Atlanta. We were there for that. At least Dave and I were. I don't know if you were at that round, Matt. That might have been the year before.
I don't remember that call being made, but that was a long time ago.
I'm hoping my memory is good on that. If not, please let me know in the comments. But I'm almost positive that happened. If Sean, if you're still watching this, figure that out for me, please.
I enjoy watching Matt Kaufman too. I enjoyed his content, his driving style, his car, him as a person. He's a young kid too. Young guy.
Yeah.
You know.
Why do you think there's such a high turnover? Like, do you think this is just a motorsports issue, or do you think this is an FD issue?
It's cost versus seat time versus the OGs running everything. Trying to break in's tough. I mean, you look at Dirk; he rips, and
I mean, he ran into some mechanical issues too. I remember I mean, I think hopefully one of you guys can vouch for me. The first time they had an issue, I think the first thing I said to them was like, get rid of that fucking blower and throw some nitrous on it. Just run nitrous. And I bugged them for like 6 months. I'm like, please just do it. And then, I mean, they ended up doing it. I'm not saying I was the reason. They had a very good engine package and just dealt with a very small belt issue. But like that,
he didn't have nitrous on the car.
He did. He ran nitrous for a while. He got rid of the blower and just ran nitrous.
Okay.
Yes.
So
he threw
that up too. He threw a belt at Pit Race, one of the ones that Dave and I went to, and we went over and talked to him. And he's like, "Yeah, having problems with this, whatever, supercharger or blower." And I'm like, "You just run some nitrous." And he's like, "No." So I mean, it's the same exact thing as you. And I mean, he rips in just about anything he's in. So.
But do we know why he's not competing? Like he's a busy dude. He's got a huge his personal life doing what he does for a living, working in sales. I'm assuming he still works sales at the dealership.
Yeah, he does the digital side of it.
Yeah. So, but like that's still, I mean, that's a busy job. So, I mean, that might pay into it. I don't know. I was curious why he didn't jump in this year.
I haven't asked him straight up, but I believe he's just getting much more seat time for much less cost, not driving. I think.
Yeah. I mean,
I thought it was COVID sponsorship marketing issues.
That is also a huge issue.
Last year, that was definitely a thing.
Oh, last year. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if it ran into this year also, which is a very good possibility.
I can confirm more than likely. I mean, not on his specific case, but I can see that. I can see that being a likely issue, and I know that's been a conversation I've heard from companies recently. Is that they had to cut back on sponsorship stuff because of COVID, because they weren't sure. What's funny though is that most parts companies actually did really, really well during COVID because people got a whole bunch of checks and they're like, $1,200, I'm still working. Fuck it, angle kit, like.
Right, and people were stuck at home. They couldn't do anything else.
Wrench on my car. Yeah, there's wrench on my car. Why not, right? And then they gave me money to do it. Like, all right, let's go. So
done.
Yeah, COVID sponsorship drifting. But yeah, I mean, I am very curious to see what happens with FD and drivers and shit for next year. I mean, like I'm already planning for next year, although we've still got a lot of season left. Well, there's 3 rounds, right? St. Louis, Irwindale, and
Long Beach.
Long Beach at the end of the year is going to be interesting.
I'm curious to see if that sticks, because that'd be pretty wild. Because that's a track you could wreck your car off, I think, even more easily than Irwindale.
Absolutely.
That's the number one. That's the home wrecker right there. That makes or breaks a season. But like, because it was first, it was interesting. But I think it weeded out a lot of people way too early.
Agreed. Absolutely.
The upside is they're gonna have a full season of drifting, so they should be in full form. The downside is the cars will be very tired. Like end of every Irwindale as the last round, it's always shit breaking. Like it is. The cars are tired. So that's what's going to be interesting is like they're going to have all the ability and all the confidence, and they're not going to have the mechanical reliability. So I am predicting like 2 big crashes due to like control arm failure. I mean, someone write that down. I'm calling it right now. Yeah.
I mean, even this round, they had all kinds of mechanical issues.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know exactly what or why, but there was like multiple people who like couldn't even get out to the line.
Yeah, so, Turk is overheating. Jeff Jones. Control arm. Yeah.
That was a crazy situation, like winning the round but not being able to get back out there.
That's happening too often. That's happened too much now. I'm concerned about this. I am.
So with that Turk one, I don't know if you guys paid attention. He was like 2-3 seconds too late getting out of the pit because they couldn't get that shut.
Yeah,
I did see that.
Think they were going to let him run?
I thought they were. I thought
they were.
Yeah. I don't know what the defining rule is on that. Like, I believe that you guys might remember more than I would, but like, is it the car has to be like off jack stands and rolling? Like it has to leave the pit in that time?
Yeah.
Under its own power. Yeah.
I mean, if they can prove that it's moving, it doesn't mean that it has to be ready for the line.
Yeah, I don't know that. I'm so bad with names. The main tech guy.
Kevin Wells.
Kevin. Yeah, it hit 0. He's standing there with the clock, and he's like, "Nope."
Yeah, he shook his head.
And then they took off.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they would have let him run if he didn't overheat or not. I'm quite curious.
I'm curious too. Yeah, I think I have his email. I might hit him up, and be like, "Hey, just curious." Like, what was going to happen.
Okay.
It's a double-edged sword because I would hate to see that stop a run, seconds, but at the same time, it is a rule. So,
Right.
Rules is rules.
yeah.
Okay, so go back to what your comment was of saying like you don't think that should be a thing. If the guy wins but can't get his car back out to the line, you said it's happening too often. What's the solution?
Oh, I didn't say there is one. I'm just afraid afraid it might happen more. But I mean, besides these last two events, when else has it happened? It hasn't been that often.
I've never even heard of it happening.
Yeah.
So like it's pretty few and far between. I think not even enough to have anything in place as a fallback.
Just two lotteries. Yeah.
There's a lot of times guys wreck into each other though. They sign fault, and the car that wins is wrecked, and they can't get it fixed.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. I guess I'm thinking like they go back to the pits and can't make it to the line in time, but not because like they totaled their crab.
I think where the only place it becomes an issue, in my opinion, is when it's the finals. So, but here's the issue: is like every rule has to apply to the finals equally as it would to any other one, right? Because like if you have another one, you can start working on other sides of the bracket and give them 15 minutes. Where it's an issue is the final, where like you don't want the crowd to wait 15 minutes for the final. You don't.
Right.
And then like even if they can't get it done in 15 minutes, because like you can get a lot of shit done in 15 minutes. If you're prepped well enough, you can get a lot of work done. But could you imagine giving them 15, the crowd waits 15, and then you still assign a fucking the other guy?
Yeah,
right?
that'd be rough.
So I think 10 is like, I think 10's as much as you can give. Realistically, 15's a lot of time.
Yeah, I agree.
Jared can only do so many smoke waves in that amount of time. The vape wave.
What is it called? The vape whale thing?
Something like that, yeah. Oh man.
So going back to the judging thing, I think that this year there's been way more one more times in this season than ever since I've been watching Formula Drift. It's happening more and more and more and more, and I don't really know exactly what or why. And Lantane's doing as best as he can by kind of explaining things, but he can only do it from his perspective. He can't speak for the other two judges, which is understandable. But like, when it gets to like the top 32, or it is the top 32, when it gets down, to the top 16 and the top 8, like I feel like they need to be more stringent on what they're looking for, and be a little bit more, I'll say, loose on the top 32 as far as what they're looking for. But it was to the point where like there was like Gucci went on the wrong side of the cone on his run, and they ended up doing it one more time, and it should have been considered an incomplete run. And I can't remember who he was running against, but it was like the other guy did not have an incomplete run. So if you have an incomplete run against a complete run, to me it's a no-brainer. Why are we watching side by sides? Why are we having a one more time?
You zeroed out that's it. Yeah.
Well, do they not do the zero anymore?
No, they got different terminology for it now.
So that's the difference.
They call it incomplete. Incomplete. Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, it's a zero. To me, it's I don't know. It's the same thing as if you go 3 tires off. It's if you straighten, if you unchaseable lead, like it's the same thing as all of those things, which makes the run null and void. And so at that point, you're just hoping the other guy messes up.
I'm picturing the Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, like, you are done, sir. Like,
yes.
Good day, sir.
Why we have weird? It's weird some of the stuff they let slide and the stuff they catch other guys on. That's the weird one.
That's what I'm saying. And it's I don't necessarily think it's necessarily a specific group of people that they're doing it with, but it's like we're seeing a lot more one more times, but side by side replays of like, they're specifically looking for this. And even Sage was like, I don't really know exactly what they're looking for, because like it even seems like it's leaning towards this direction, which I feel like is kind of sketchy, putting yourself out there as like, oh yeah, like this guy definitely should be winning, and you're just the announcer, you're not a judge, so it's like even the announcer is saying he thinks that it should be this, obviously. So I don't know, it just seems kind of weird to me.
I think
go
ahead, Dave. No, go I talk too much, you're good.
I was going to say my thing with that is at the end of the day, we're all being judged by the same judges. Well, obviously we're driving the same competition. So it is what it is. If it's a bad call, it's a bad call. Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it helps you out.
Yeah.
But why did we have like 25 one more times? That's my question.
I will say that driving is elevated much more to where a lot of drivers are better.
Yeah.
Because 5 years ago, if you could just make 2 runs, you're gonna win. Like,
yeah. Well, the other thing too is with the new qualifying setup, which I mean, part of me hates, but part of me absolutely loves, because like it's just, for lack of a better term, it's just fuck the whole thing. Like it did. It's the first time I've seen a rule change where you're like, oh shit, like where anything can happen now. Like this is strategy. But it is, but it's not, because like it could, if it is your strategy, it works out. But here's the issue, and it goes back to your point. A lot of the reason why we're having a lot of one more times is we've never seen these two drivers go head to head in top 32. There's no fucking reason why Vaughn and Osbo should be top 32 going against each other or shit like that.
I see.
It's because of the strategy that Denofa and Vaughn are using, which I get. It's a tire strategy, which is cool.
Let me ask you about that though.
Okay.
Do you think he really qualified last on purpose? Because that's a bold move if he did.
I don't think they deliberately aimed for last. I mean, I think they saw Ryan Literal in practice and went, okay, even if we put a run together, we're going to be in the show. But because Ryan Literal, I'm sorry, that sucks. I hate to see that happen, because that sucked. But anyways, love the guy, but what a terrible time. I feel super bad. I feel, because like it looks like 100% mechanical issues. It's just like, man, that must have been terrible.
Can we jump on that subject now though?
Yes, I can, but yeah.
We have 2 subjects to go back to.
Okay. I'm not going to decide between the RB and the 2J thing. I'm not going to make a decision. What I will say is that to make 1,000 horsepower reliably, it costs significantly less to do it with a 2J, from my research.
So if you're making more than 500, I would say JZ is the way to go for reliable power.
Yep.
But an RB does sound better.
RB sounds way better.
Oh yeah, I'm so sick of 2Js now. Yeah.
But no, it's just wild because he started that whole thing, I'm sure, for views and likes and all that kind of stuff, and it's just backfired so hard on him. It sucks.
But this is what I'm saying is, like, if he came out and did well, it would have been the greatest fucking thing ever. Oh my God. If he just came out and slayed, even if he came out, won his top 32, I would have been like, shit, nice. Okay. But something has happened. He was fighting issues at Grid Life, it looks like, from that Adam LZ post. And then something didn't happen. I don't know. I think he was committed.
I missed the LZ post. What was the LZ post?
LZ shit on Ryan Literal in a Facebook or on an Instagram post, basically stating, because I think Ryan Literal said something along the lines of like, I don't have to manji the straight, I can just one shot it.
Yeah.
And Nick Swan's like, no, and I apologize if I'm putting words in people's mouth, but like,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the rule basically stated we're doing a manji because we need you to slow down, because if you biff that, and we're not worried about the pro guys biffing it, we're worried about the guys who think they're pro guys biffing it. They're going to go full speed, full send into the stands, and we don't want that.
Yeah.
So Adam made a post about it, like saying shit like that, and said like, oh, RB is better than Jay-Z, and had a picture of Ryan being towed off track. So, yeah.
I would say him connecting that straight was pretty rad.
It looked awesome, but like there was, it was crazy. But anyways, that is something that happened.
So, he didn't compete last year, did he?
I don't believe so, no.
Because before that, it was the 350Z.
Yeah, with LS.
Yeah.
So this would have been the first year of him driving his S15 with the RB.
And his argument, and I stand by it, is like, I'm significantly better in an S chassis, and his old S chassis was phenomenal in, and to watch Party Drive was incredible. Like he was so good. But he gets into the Z. It's a different chassis layout. Its geometry is very different. A lot about the car is different.
Very different.
I believe his was LS as well, which is not his way of driving. And if you watched him drive, he was off the limiter constantly. Very similar to how do you drive an RB. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm just reading something. Okay. I got a clarification on my Ryan Literal statement. Somebody commented, this person, I won't call them out in case they don't want to be. I was at the driver's meeting. Manji was mandated at the driver's meeting as part of the course. Ryan was not at the driver's meeting. he missed it, and that is also part of that post. So
he's that guy.
Yeah. So, anyways, yes. I don't even know where the fuck I was at, but he was phenomenal in S chassis. He got put into an LS 350Z. His argument now is like, give it time, but obviously there's a mechanical issue, and it doesn't have to be engine. Could be ECU, could be transmission, could be diff, could be a lot of different things. So, so the Z was LS. So
I think he took lessons from Matt Powell.
did he?
I think so.
Broken engines all the time.
Yeah, the great way to do it. So,
but no, that's one of my biggest pet peeves though, is people that move up or whatever and they change chassis.
Yeah,
like,
it was Ryan Griffith, by the way, Dave's neighbor. Ryan Griffith is the one who told us that. So thank you, Ryan, for that.
I can probably see him from my house if I look out the window.
It's like, wait, you see him typing away.
Well, ask him about Dirk and why he's not competing.
Yeah, Ryan. Yeah, if you can make a statement. If you can't make a statement about why Dirk's not drifting, don't. I respect that. Yeah, make something up. Be like, yeah, he's got sponge hands now. You didn't hear his hands. His hands are now sponges. It's terrible.
We all know that's not true because we see him in Atlanta when the steering wheel came off.
Oh yeah,
that dude has nerves of steel because he didn't even flinch.
Just back on. Yeah,
he's just like, oh, wheel came off. Let's put it back on.
Yeah. Anyways, I can't remember what the hell I was spending off about. Okay, going back. So that's my thoughts on Ryan Littrell. That broke my heart. I want to see him do really well, and I want to see him prove everyone wrong. 100%.
I was super bummed to see him have all these issues.
It hurt. That's what I mean. It hurt. It hurt to watch. So, but to go to the Chelsea and Vaughn thing,
right?
Their argument is they would rather chase with more tread and then just nuke it off like right down to chords on the end, because chasing, especially at this track, because of that last corner and how slow that session is, you need that grip at slow speeds. So whereas other tracks that you end like in a big long hot drift or something like that, you may not need that. It may be better to lead first. So yeah.
I did see somebody say they should make it higher qualifier gets a choice to lead or follow, which I do like.
Ooh.
That would fuck the whole strategy. And Dave, man, I mean, if you said it and it happens, yeah, I'm about that. That brings it back. It brings it back. And then we'll truly see that. We'll actually see.
Well, wasn't there also like a points difference too? And they were just kind of like saying,
used to be, not anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, there's not points anymore. I thought
no points for qualifying.
Oh,
no advantage. Okay. Ryan commented, he said Achilles folding and under new ownerships was a major hit to the program. So completely understand. Yeah, that'd be huge. That'd be crazy. Yeah. Man, I liked Achilles too. I liked Achilles.
Everybody did.
That was great. They were great. I loved Achilles.
You probably dealt with them more as a company too, but they seem to be great as a company also.
Yeah, no issues there. There wasn't a ton of communication, but like I definitely communicated with them on a few occasions, and yeah, no, it was good. But yeah, so that sucks.
Since you're single-handedly going to fix the internet, can we talk about these tires right here and how they're starting to delaminate now?
So I don't know anything about that. I would love to have Ed on the pod. I would very, very much love to have Ed on the podcast because he's been on other shows. I think he was on Drifting Pro-Am. I don't know if you heard that.
He was. I listened to that episode.
Fucking phenomenal. It was phenomenal. If you want to know about like sponsorship more than I can talk about, that is the podcast to listen to. Because I just want to know that they're fixing the tires in Taiwan here, so we're not going to have these issues. Because last two events haven't been good. I don't know if it's related, but there is an actual shortage with rubber right now, and it's affecting the circle track industry first.
Yeah, they had to cancel some events.
They did. They had to cancel some at Lake Erie due to a tire shortage. So if that's happening to circle track, who doesn't go through nearly as many tires as Formula Drift does, that could be a problem. So I assume as demand goes up and supply increases, sometimes corners get cut. So that could be it. It could be also a resource issue where they're having to use more recycled rubber in their compounds.
Yeah. Look at the Achilles ATRs. They were a great tire. Now they delaminate after a lap and a half if you get that much out of them. That's crazy. They changed something drastically in them tires, and they're
the Sport 2s, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They were a good grippy, made a lot of smoke tire. Didn't last great, but they lasted okay. Now they just blow apart.
What out of all the brands and all the tire companies and everything else, like, did you have a favorite? Like yeah, always Kenda. Like,
Absolutely.
but I mean, like, even going back to like Max's, like, were you ever like, no? Kenda's from day one.
So Iron Mans are pretty good. They don't have as much grip as a Kenda. The life's probably 90% of a Kenda. Like, they're up there. The problem is, prior to that, I ran takeoffs like forever.
Yeah.
I got on a new tire thing probably 2-3 years ago.
Is it worth it? Like, at what point is it worth it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you want to progress as a driver and get better, you have to run new tires. Because if you run old tires, you could have the same set of Continentals, because everybody runs Continentals because they're super popular takeoffs. You throw it in the first turn, it might hook up and grip great. You burn them tires off, you put the next set of Continentals on, and you go straight into the wall.
Yeah.
It's
There's no confidence.
Yeah, even with the same exact tire, they're still totally different.
Mm.
So
the first year I ran all takeoffs, and the second year I kind of sprinkled some in, but I changed to the Westlake SAO7s, and they were like 55 a tire for just a 225, 45, 17. And, I was making 200 horsepower in an SR before I'd done anything to it. And, I'd get 25 or 30 laps out of a set and smoke decent and car was consistent, and you can get them delivered to my front door the next day after I ordered them. So
wow.
No, I didn't have the most amount of grip, and whatever. But at that time I was just trying to get seat time. It was a good, constant, reliable, bang for buck, tire. And that was what I ran. That was what I ran at Panthera, Dave. We went there. And they're predictable and they're good.
And that's 200 and that's a 245 at 200 horsepower.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of pressure?
225.
Oh, 225. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, I'm like, wow. Okay. I mean,
no. I was 225.
Bold move, Cotton. I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't be done. I'm just saying that seems like 95 PSI. It's fine.
Yeah, 225.
Going to new tires has progressed my driving the most out of anything I've done, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
What's your setup right now? If you don't, I mean, I don't think you have a problem sharing.
I run a 225 Kenda on the front and 265 on the rear, 300 treadwear for both.
At like 22, 23 PSI or?
Generally like 32 in the front. The rears, I've gone as low as like 15, as high as 30, depending.
Okay.
Generally around 20.
What do you run for, like, toe in or camber or cast or anything else? I'm just curious.
Well, Matt will tell you that my car doesn't like alignment machines. So
okay.
He never gets a car line. He's like, I got the car line like 3 seasons ago. It's still good.
Jesus, Dave.
Like, bro.
I run a little bit of toe out in the front, obviously. A little bit of toe in the rear. Nothing crazy, like 1/4 inch maybe.
Okay.
Just a touch of positive camber, so I wear tires flat. Nothing,
Yeah, you just kind of like look at the burn off, be like, yep, that seems to be good. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're comfortable with it, then why change it, right? Like, you're not at the point where you're changing setups regularly to adjust for something. Like, you want consistent.
Yeah.
Nice.
And my car is pretty high, so
it is high
level kind of deal,
Yeah. What are you running, like, angle and grip kit or just stock or?
PBM on the front with homemade arms and stuff. The PBM knuckle. The rear's ISR stuff. I'm trying to get PBM knuckles for the rear, but they've been back ordered since COVID.
Yeah, so. Fair enough. All
right. I tried to get LZs that he took off his car, but he wasn't having it.
Oh right, I remember you messaged me about that, didn't you?
I
like, hey,
everybody.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, message me to message Schulman.
Man, I thought I was special, but that's fine. You gotta figure that out.
Yeah, anyways. I only messaged Jacob because
he was a very desperate man.
Yeah.
Adam and I are like this, right?
He doesn't run any sway bars either.
Interesting.
I have a front sway bar that'll be on for the next event to try.
But, what are you hoping to achieve with that? Like, what are you looking for? Because, like, people talk about that, right? Like adding or disconnecting a sway bar, but like, what perceivable change do you think will happen? Or do
I'm just trying to add more rear grip is my goal.
So okay, but how, like, for somebody who wouldn't know, who doesn't realize what, like, how does this work? So if you're putting a sway bar on the front, how does that add more grip to the rear?
I don't know the scientifics behind it, but it basically transfers more weight to the rear because it stiffens the front. Basically, anything you do to stiffen the front of the car adds more rear grip. You soften it, it adds more front grip. So,
Okay. So like, would you like soften the
you
suspension in
put
the
a sway
rear?
bar in the rear, it'll make your car looser.
Right.
I think I lost my name.
Of course, his internet goes down. And he's like, "Oh, good, I get to get out of this explanation."
Okay, so basically what happens is like when you have your sway bar and you transfer weight,
Yeah.
it ends up putting the weight on the opposing tire on the back.
Okay. I gotcha.
It's this force back here and
Okay.
this force back here.
You can transfer to make it. Yeah. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, sorry. I think I know what you mean. So it's like it's pushing it to the outside of the car, like or the weight transfer is pushing it to the opposite side of the car, so both tires can make better contact because there's more weight.
Well, also, like, as the car wants to roll over, it's putting all the weight up in the front.
Yeah.
If you stiffen this, it's not going to go over that, so it
Right.
transfers it back.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
There.
On the little, like on the 4 axes kind of thing, 3 axes, I guess. Interesting. Okay. No, I mean, it's something that I think people say. I mean, it's like when people are like, "Oh, I'm going to dial in a bunch of grip." I'm like, "Well, what the fuck do you mean?" Because like, there's,
Yeah,
there's like
exactly.
6 ways to do that.
Yeah.
I remember.
Honestly,
Oh,
basic suspension, a lot of guys don't know, and it'll help them out. So
it helped me out a ton. That's what I'm saying is like I mean, the argument of like why people should share their knowledge, because it's like sometimes people are just embarrassed to ask. Like I ask stupid questions all the time because I'm just like, well, I just need to know. Like even if it's dumb, somebody's like, you don't know that? I'm like, no, I don't. Just please tell me. Like I can say like, oh yeah, of course.
The other thing I tell a lot of new guys when I talk to them, I'll be like, where are your clickers at? Most of them don't even know. And I'll be
Right.
like, all right, just go full hard here and full soft there and try it. Just like all the way. 'Cause most people will tell you, add 2 clicks to the front, take 2 off, whatever. I tell people go all the way, and then you'll see a difference. If you go 2 clicks, you might not feel a difference. A lot of people can't feel that little bit. You go from medium to full hard, you should be able to feel a difference in your car.
So like most people, when they come down to like either a drift clinic or it's their, they're in C class or even B class, it's like they don't really know how to set stuff up. So it's like, pretty much sway bar in the front, no sway bar in the back, as stiff as you can go with the clickers in the front, and as soft as you go with the clickers with the back is a decent place to start.
Yeah.
30 pounds in the front, and then whatever they have for tires in the back, depending on power and whatever. But it's like that'll make your car the most predictable with your setup that you have at this level. Once you start getting up, 500 horsepower plus whatever, then you can start talking about different sway bars and shocks and all that other stuff. But like general rule of thumb, like start there, and then you can kind of feel it out and figure out what you want. But if you don't know what the option is with your car that you have that's completely stock, I mean, that's a good place to start.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's good. That's definitely like that's definitely a good starting point for everybody. I mean, I can't argue with that. I don't think there may be cars that are the exception to that rule, but I think all things considered, yeah, you want to be able to hang on to the angle up front and get the back as happy as you can, right?
Yep.
So
yeah, I mean, you want the front predictable, and that'll make the front planted and predictable, and then you're at that point more driving with your foot than chasing the back end, trying to chase the front end.
Yeah.
A lot of guys will even run rear sway bar and no front sway bar, and that'll make it even worse.
Yeah.
At that point, it's better to run no sway bar than just back sway bar or rear sway bar.
Yeah. I don't think
our setup again, of course.
I'm like thinking now about like the piece of shit BMW I have. I'm like, wait, I'm pretty sure the sway bars are cut off of that. So I'm like, I don't think I'm running any sway bars in that car at all. But I mean, I'm not. Yeah.
So like an E-chassis BMW, you might be able to get away with a rear bar, no front, because they make way too much rear grip for the amount of power they make.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
They're a handful to drive for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the V8 helps, but like it's definitely a lot of fighting. We're doing some. I'm so dumb. Have you ever done like okay, so here's the situation. I need more angle in that car, right? So what do? I need more angle. It's an obscure chassis. You start searching. You start going on forums and YouTube and shit and be like, hey, who's done it? Is there a video? I find this video. This kid's like, okay, here's what you do. You move the lower knuckles out because there's like another set of bolt holes because they use multiple chassis. It's a BMW thing, right? Like everything is fucking interchangeable. And then they're like, you extend your tie rods by 1 inch and extend your upper control arms by 1 inch to make up for it. Widens the track on your car, allows you to get more angle. You don't have to modify the knuckles at that point. You don't have to do any cast welding, which is nice, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I look, there's a couple of forum posts about it that corroborate what he's saying. Perfect. Jump on Rock Auto, order all the parts to my door, good to go. I then say to my buddy who's going to do all the work, hey, here's the video that I took reference from because he's got all the measurements in it. So when we go to do it, I want to make sure you have the measurements. Yeah. He's like, okay. I share it to them. And you know, like the preview comes up and it's like when you share something on Facebook, how it's like a photo of the video, you've got your title and then a bit of the description. Yeah. I fucking read the description and in it says, and this is in the preview, it's like, I've in like big stars, like I've read the forum posts. I know I didn't have to do this. I could have just ordered E32 upper control arms and E32 tie rods. And I'm like, shit. That was the first thing that came out. It's the first time I ever saw it. So I go through everything. And then of course I'm like, okay, well, I'll just take a look and see how much they are. And they're cheaper and require no work.
Of course. Of course.
So I think my buddy who's a fabricator is still going to do it for me, but because I'm going to get I think anyways, I was like, it was just the worst. And like, I should, all I had to do was read the fucking description of the video to like, man, it was bad. It was bad. But anyway, so I'm going to have more angle in that, which would be nice. I'm not going to modify the knuckles. I mean, I've seen a few guys do it. It definitely helps with a few things. But you have to do, it's a weird, like you have to chop it, lower it and offset it to get the Ackerman correct. And I'm like, I don't want to go through all that. Like, it's just too much. So I want to put nitrous on. It's manual. Yeah. It's a 5-speed. Yeah. I very much want to put nitrous on it now though. Cause I'm like more power, more power, more fun.
And aren't you in with Zex?
Pardon?
Aren't you in with Zex?
No, Nitrous Express. But maybe I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a couple of years, so like I might just be like, "Hey, what's up? How's it going, guys? How you been? Does everybody still work here? Everybody, where's this guy? Is he still here? Right. Hey, buddy! Like,
you survived COVID?
Yeah, how's it going? It's been a bit. Yeah, man, total hermit for the last 2 years. Sorry, I couldn't talk, but. I'm building this real piece of shit BMW for a YouTube channel nobody watches. You mind throwing me some parts? Like, that's basically how that conversation's gonna have to go. So,
hey, what do you have to lose?
I know if they do it, great. I've already been looking at, like used nitrous kits and stuff. There's a spot in town that fills them. I'm like, 10-pound bottle for an event. I'm like $500 in with a fill. I'm like. Might just do it. Might $500 worth of fun. Although I'm quite positive the engine will explode if I hit it with anything more than like 75. So is it even worth it then, right?
Nitrous is an easy way to make power, which is nice, but I don't like that it's consumable.
Yeah.
And right. Or you have issues like Chelsea had on his last run.
Yeah. He was getting. I'm surprised they don't have a secondary shutoff. I'm surprised they don't have a bottle opener.
Yeah. So I thought about this. If he wouldn't have got that buy run, he would have been on the line, would have purged, would have stuck. Did he have 5 minutes?
Yes. I think he would have to take one. Or, I mean, realistically, you could just run it.
Here's the other thing. If he had the 5 minutes, could he have replaced it and fixed the solenoid in 5 minutes?
He just wouldn't be able to purge it, I guess.
From what I seen, it looked like he didn't want to run the bank without nitrous.
Bold statement, Dave. Fucking, that's some 4D chess, buddy. That is some 4D chess. Wow. I would if it was frozen open, I would hedge my bets and say they had another bottle ready. It's real accessible, and all they'd have to do is warm up that nozzle. That's it. Right? You'd have to turn off the bottle anyways to detach it.
Well,
you would just
it's open.
Because he was purging it a whole bunch. Because like he's right because it's like a buy run, so I'm going to purge it a whole bunch. Like it's probably based on the amount of time it was running. It probably was. It wasn't a full bottle because would have been a buy run, so they knew it didn't have to be a full bottle.
I was going to say I was surprised it ran out as quickly as it did.
I mean. It's a lot of nitrous. Like a purge is a big dump. Like that's just letting her go. So.
Oh right, but I was expecting like I don't know what size they have. They have 20-pound bottles.
I think they're 10 or 15s. I think they're 10s. Yeah.
So if it's a 10-pound bottle, I would have expected it to last like twice that long.
That's why I think it would have been a half bottle because they knew it didn't have to do 2 runs, right? So it could have been. It probably was like a half practice bottle where they're like, meh, fuck it, go for it.
Is there a replace their bottle after every battle?
Most guys do. Yeah, most guys.
Yeah,
I would assume Chelsea and Vaughn have quite a large nitrous operation on that truck.
Yeah.
I would hedge my bets and say probably close to a dozen bottles, which are probably in a warm water tank. Like, I mean, knowing their budget and their reliance on it, I would assume it's quite the operation. So
aren't they using a 200 shot?
At least. Yeah. It doesn't last that long. I mean, I've run as high as a 175 and it wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot. Yeah, it wasn't a lot. So, I mean, it was a lot in the car. It was incredible, but like it didn't last very long. It was like I was party drifting and it was like maybe 3 sessions. Maybe. Yeah.
The Broken Motion guys said they'll get like maybe a day out of theirs. And I think they run like 50 or 100 shot.
Wow.
Which,
and
that's the thing. You're talking 3 bottles. That's like almost $200 an event. That is
if you're paying retail, but if you're paying retail, they're buying in bulk, right? Like,
yeah, no, I'm talking for Joe Blow that's going to run nitrous in his car.
If you're running that much, yeah, you're going to want to bring 3 bottles. You're probably an extra $600 around. Yeah. So
a couple of rounds in, you could buy a turbo or supercharger or something and just have that.
Right.
Forever.
Yeah. I agree. I definitely agree. I mean, I think if you're running a 50 shot, like if you're having troubles getting the car to spin a slightly bigger tire, I don't think it's a big thing. I think if you're running a big turbo, it's a great idea. And I think like even for you, Dave, if you're like, you know what, I need to know what another 100 is like, because I want to potentially go supercharged or something. So I want to, you know, what else am I going to need, right?
You ever reading my private text messages here or what?
I'm just saying. If I can get a bottle at a Nitrous Express for a shitty BMW, I'm sure I can get one for your car. Well, dude, you just got to get out there. I'm telling you. But yeah, I think for you it'd be super beneficial. You could just see what the car is like, or try out some bigger tires. Like if you want to bump up to a 275 or 285 to see what the car feels like.
That's the problem I'm having right now is we don't have a tire rule in our comps, and everybody's discovered 200 treadwear tires. A 265 300 is pushing the limits of my car.
Yeah.
So I can't even run a 200. I don't think.
Yeah, that would be tough. That would definitely be tough.
Now, if I had another 60 horse, it'd probably be okay.
But the thing is with your car, it's like it's a cold plate. Like it's such an easy install. Guaranteed, there's like 6 different plates that you would put on there and just plumb up to it and you'd be done.
Yeah, I would just need a controller. That's all.
You have it as a wide open throttle.
No, I would rather have a controller. I want it to come progressive.
Okay. Well, I mean, even that, so you're $1,500, $1,600 into the kit.
Well, I could buy an intake and stuff and be close to the same power.
Sorry, I was just reading through some of the comments. Good job, Jacob. Oh God, what did I do now? Yeah, they say they switch a bottle every 2 tires, and they run a 300 shot is what it looks like.
Oh, cow.
And they use
300 shot.
Yeah, and but I mean, if the motor's built for it, what's the difference? If you build a motor to handle a supercharger that puts out 300 horsepower, what's the difference? That it's more efficient because it's colder. Anyways,
that's a massive shot.
I mean, unless you compare it to drag racing, and then it's tiny.
I mean,
right?
Fair.
There are guys that dump a bottle in an 8-second run, right? $110 a shot, right there. Boom, bottle empty. They're all nitrous.
That's crazy.
Yeah, fill bulk tanks. Yeah. Anyways, so I'm just saying it depends. It depends on how you want to add horsepower. Some people think it's worth it. If you can get a good nitrous deal, like why not, right?
Yeah.
Just because that's what you're paying at your local shop, $110 a bottle. I mean, that's what I was paying $11 per pound. So a 10 pound bottle was $110. So which on like a 50 shot would last me a weekend for sure.
And that's great, right?
Yeah, so it's like what, $5 for you guys, and then they give you a gun. So
I think they said it was like $80 for a tank. I want to say.
Who said that?
One of the Broke Motion guys.
Oh, Broke Motion. Okay.
Which one I was talking to?
Yeah.
I wonder how many guys run water meth. Like, whatever happened to that? Remember when like water meth was huge?
Yeah, I was just talking to somebody about it at the last event. Actually, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, why not run the system and then spray your tires too? Oh, the methanol might be an issue.
Well, they're talking about just running just water, no meth.
Yeah.
I mean, I have water methanol on my rotary, on my FC out there.
That makes sense.
And that should, temperatures just keeps everything way down.
I was looking at it for my truck because, like, I know guys run it for towing just to keep the EGTs down, especially in like the Cummins engines because the EGTs get really high towing, especially if you've got it tuned up, like if you have timing and fuel and stuff. But yeah, I was just kind of curious. Like, I mean, did the technology just kind of like hit a dead end? But like, this is like, I feel like nitrous technology, I mean, is getting better, but like marginally better. It's like we're as good as it's going to get. Everything is incremental now.
Yeah. I think a big thing is the progressive controllers helped out a ton.
Yeah,
because you're not just wide open. You know.
I mean, I think fuel technology like E85s are getting. I mean, everybody's running E85. Sean just commented that on too, but I think maybe just cheaper fuel, like stuff like Ignite, will get more. You know what I mean? Just like cheaper. Like E85 fittings are a lot cheaper now, right? And like E85 controllers and the way that you monitor it has gotten easier. So I think maybe that's our next big jump is in fuel technology.
How about that new Porsche fuel?
Yeah. But I mean, that's a ways out before you're bringing barrels of that in.
Well, I'm hoping it's just gonna be at the pumps. That would be awesome.
That could be neat. I mean, how easy is it for you guys to find E85 right now?
Very.
Yeah.
Every station by me has it basically.
Yeah. Really? It's still super hard to find in Canada.
I mean, funny. I can go 2 miles down the road and get 110 race gas. So it's
fucking God bless America. I would have to go to like, I think there's only one racetrack that I know of that has race gas. That's it. Out of everywhere within a reasonable driving distance. I mean, and reasonable being like 5 hours, 6 hours. So,
wow.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, it's weird how different areas are because when I was in Western New York, you could get non-ethanol fuel very easily and it was same price. Here, it's hard to find. And if I find it, it's 87 octane and they want like $5 a gallon for it.
Jesus.
What?
Absurd. Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
That is crazy. I mean,
but I can get race gas, closer than I can get non-ethanol fuel.
So here's a question for you. How long do you think it'll be before FD implements hybrid racing similar to F1? Like timeline wise, realistically.
I don't know if I even see it. I could see full electric and a full gas, but not hybrid.
Yeah. Okay. I'm figuring like
too many rules involved, I think. I feel like.
But it's not. We don't regulate power. Like how often is FD regulating how much horsepower you make?
Where can you put what electric motor and what can it do? I don't know. Guys would be driving individual wheels and all kinds of goofy stuff.
I mean, yeah, but you already have a rule book for that now, right? Like you can't drive an all-wheel drive car there, so like you can't change that. And what's wrong with driving individual wheels? Isn't that what a limited slip kind of is? You're putting different amounts of power into different wheels.
I mean, they were talking about having brake bias that can't be side-to-side bias.
Yeah. It can't be adjusted in the driver compartment because that I think was Chelsea Denofa.
Yeah, Denofa straight up told Kevin Wells that he was doing that.
Yeah,
he's like, yeah, you're not supposed to be able to do that.
Well, they didn't want you being able to use more of it if you were doing lead or chase, right?
Oh, so as long as it's outside of the car, you can't be changed from inside the car, then it's fine.
Yeah,
okay, I thought you could do front rear, but not side.
No, okay. you can still do side to side. It just has to be set and the same for both runs. Because what he would do is change it when he was chasing, so he could dive in more, right?
I got a question for you, Jacob, because you might know the answer to this.
Uh-oh.
So my buddy Andrew Falk, he asked me at Taco Tuesday yesterday, can you call a 5-minute and change your tire pressure? You can't, right?
No.
Okay. No. I didn't think you could. But
I don't think you're allowed to touch your tires unless and if you have to, if your tire was damaged, if your tire was damaged in part of the incident, but not if the tire failing or being damaged was the incident, I believe is the determining factor. So a DB, you can't call a 5-minute, but if you if you hit the wall and crinkle it in and the tire comes off with it, but then both parties get a new set of
Both
tires.
Yeah, because that happened with Field and Vaughn, didn't it?
Yes.
It
Or
did just happen. I forget who it was.
Yeah, Vaughn called the timeout, and then because I don't remember the exact situation, but Vaughn called the 5 minute, and then both of them were able to get a new set of tires, and they both went out there again.
I believe so. Yeah. So someone correct, please, like jump. I mean, somebody of chat if they want to jump in, but yeah, I think that's what it is. So I don't know. I can't think of any other like rule changes that I would like to see, but I am happy. I was going to mention this earlier and I forgot. So they're starting to take into account DOS type software. Like they have a way now of reading what's happening in the car. I don't know.
Said that.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is. If each car has an implementation in it, like from FD, like put this in your car, hook it to your battery. I don't believe so, but I do know that they are able now to pull data from your ECU. You have to log your run.
I thought it was like a momentum based or like a G-force based sensor.
Okay, it could be. I don't know a lot about this at all.
They were talking to I want to say it was Essa and somebody else, whoever he was battling,
to see if he like, came off throttle.
Yeah, came off throttle too early in outer zone 2 before the inner clip 1. There was a slowdown there, and there was a collision. I want to say, was it Gucci or
I can't remember.
I can't remember who it is. But yeah, he slowed down quite a bit, and then hit him in the chase. I think Goosh spun out, and then Essa ended up, just continuing on.
Right.
And they checked his ECU to see if, he slowed down too much after the braking zone in that. And so, I mean, Lantane talked about it in that battle.
They checked that in this last round?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it
Ryan,
was one of the battles.
Yeah, Ryan said they're reading it off the teams that use it, GPS data, he believes. So, I mean, every ECU manufacturer right now, I think, has a module built in, or you can buy a module to do GPS. So, I think what he's saying is like the teams that have it, they're comparing it to the judge's decision to see if the judge's decision was correct. Similar to what they did in baseball, right? Where like they have the overlay there to see if the ump was correct on the call. You know what I mean? Eventually, yeah. I think they will have it so they can collect it right away. I think what they're having an issue with is getting the data from the car to the judges, right? In a timely fashion. Right. So I think what would be neat is a year where they show what the computers would call the particular thing and then compare that to what the judges called, just to see.
Makes them look bad though.
Yeah, but I don't think they'll actually make it. Like, I would love to see it. I don't think they would actually provide that. I think what they will do is tune it until it is similar to how the judges score things on a consistent basis, and then we'll go from there. But I mean, ultimately, it'll be a fact check at this point. It'll just be
nice. It would be nice for them if he calls though, because like we were talking about earlier, something that happens in the car can be drastic, and you don't see it from the outside.
Yeah,
right.
Like them guys can play games and get away with it right now, and then we had something like that, we would definitely put everybody on the same page.
Yeah, Ryan said they're using it mostly to design the zones in the track, because like during practice they just let them run it. They don't have the zones implemented, and then they build after that, which I really like to see. So I think they just put like the clipping points out and like give you a general idea of where the track should be, but they don't actually mandate what the scoring is going to be until after practice.
Okay.
So the track, there is a track layout, just not where the zones are going to be. They figure out naturally where people enter and exit.
My phone's gonna die. I gotta get my charger.
Oh Jesus, Matt.
I know.
One job. Now we just have to talk about him while he's gone.
Yep. Another reason why I didn't use my phone.
Yeah. See, Dave's got this figured out. Dave is the most. I mean, arguably, you had the least amount of problems out of everybody getting this all set up, which is fantastic.
Other than my internet acting up, which I should have reset it before we started. I should have known better.
It's all good. It's all good. I didn't. Well, mine's pretty reliable. I don't have to, but now I'm saying that something's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I just killed it. I just destroyed it. So, but yeah. What do you have left to drive this season? Like, what do you like? How many more events do you think you're going to do?
So definitely a fall mat series, and then
Nice.
we're doing a clinic here in a couple of weeks. It's for C and D drivers. We help them out, try to help them with car setup, get a couple different areas set up for them to like do donuts around cones, do figure eights. We'll run a couple layouts on the track, left and right turn entries kind of deal. Then second half of the day, we'll put a layout down on the track and let them have at it and try to give them tips and whatnot.
I mean, it's working. Like I've seen from photos and videos, guys that were originally in C group up in B and doing incredibly well very recently. I think a couple of those trucks that they run the program last year. There was like a couple of mini trucks that I saw. I think maybe a Tacoma.
I don't know if he came to the clinic or not. The big one that stands out to me, I forget his first name. His last name's Fuller. Young kid, he showed up in a Miata to the clinic, and he was struggling doing figure eights around the cones and stuff. He ended up getting an S chassis. We moved him up to B in this last session, and he got the most improved driver for the event too.
Oh, right. I did see that.
Yeah, he could be borderline an A driver now. He just needs C time and experience. But he went through the clinic and progressed very fast.
Nice. That's awesome. That's good.
I mean, like one of the nice things about like the drug clinics is people come with the open mind to learn because they realize that they're not as good as what they want to be. So they listen to listen with an open ear. Whereas if you're just at a regular drift event and you're like, yo, I noticed you're struggling in this area. No, I'm not. I'm just fine. I got this. It's like sometimes it kind of falls on deaf ears and you just watch them struggle. So it's like at a clinic where you're accepting the fact that you're not where you want to be makes it so that you're more receptive to the information you're told. So
that's actually a huge one with your last podcast, Jacob. You mentioned giving advice to the up and comers and stuff, and guys like Matt and I, we try to help these guys out. And it's one of the best feelings ever when you tell somebody, hey, when you initiate, like just do this, and then you watch them go out and do it and it works. That's awesome.
It's good validation, but
the other part of that is when you tell them, hey, go out and do this, and they don't do it, and then they mess up again, you stop them, you say, hey, do this. And they don't do it again, mess up again, and then you're like, okay, obviously I'm wasting my time trying to help this guy out.
I think you just need like a t-shirt that says like, I give unsolicited advice. Please listen. On the back it just says like, I know what I'm talking about, please listen. So that way like you tell them and then you turn around and then they read that as you're walking away.
I think a big part for me is they see the gray in the beard and whatnot, and they're like, hi, I ain't listening to this old guy.
I mean, I was always taught to respect my elders, but I guess
we live in different times now.
Fuck old people, boomer.
No, I think a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't know my car or that I drive my car, I guess. So.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it is tough. I think there's a lot of ego with it. I remember when I did a motorcycle course before I got my license, and they were asking everybody like, hey, have you driven a motorcycle before? And then a couple of people were like, no. And they're like, okay, cool, good. And I was like, good? What the fuck do you mean good? And then they asked me, they're like, have you driven a motorcycle before? I'm like, yeah, I've been riding dirt bikes since I could walk. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, what? And they're like, they're like, we've got a lot of bad habits we need to break. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, first of all, don't just keep revving the engine. These bikes will like idle. They'll idle just fine as soon as you start them. And I'm like, okay. And then I caught myself doing it like when we got into practical, I was like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, and it's like a Honda CBR 500 or something like that.
You used to your 125, keeping her alive.
Oh man. Oh, well, a couple people were on, like, there was one lady, I told the instructor, like I pulled her aside. I'm like, look, if you pass this chick, I'm cutting my license up in front of you because that's insane. Like, she was so bad. I felt so bad for her. But
they generally do just pass everybody. It's kind of
this was scary though, dude. Because like her husband rode and she wants to ride with them, and she's got like this new Harley, and I'm like, oh man, that thing that's a skin graft waiting to happen. So, but yeah, I mean that's cool. I honestly I would absolutely love to come down for one of those clinics because once again, I am not of the person who's like, yeah, I can fucking do this. I would what I want to know, all that I want to know is what my driving is like in a setup car. I would very, very much like to know what I can do in a car that's properly set up, because the vast majority of almost everything I've ever driven has been a bullshit put together hunk of crap. They've all been just like, just get it done. Just get it together. Like, I don't fucking care. Let's just do it. So
and somehow you're driving Road Atlanta.
It's because I've got
that happen?
I've got a big mouth. Have I never told you this story?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I shouldn't have. Yeah, I shouldn't have been there, but I just
0% chance should have been there.
no.
I love the fact you did. I don't know how you did it, but I love the fact you're able to make it happen.
mean, you guys have hung out with me enough. I don't stop talking. People just give me what I want, so I'll shut up sometimes.
Sure, fine, go away.
Yeah, they're like, if I just give you the sticker, will you shut the fuck up? And I'm like, yeah, for sure. Next thing you know, I'm like going through the S's. I'm like, okay, here we go. Oh my god.
I was super bummed when they stopped doing Grid Life at Road Atlanta.
Were you? Yeah, you were at the Atlanta that got broken up though. Like, if
no,
I've never been to a Grid Life.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
Dude, you have to go to Midwest this year. You no, there's no discussion here. You're going.
You know when Midwest is this year, right?
September.
Yep.
Is it like on LS Fest weekend or some shit?
Oh, sure is.
So you're going to Grid Life instead of LS Fest, is what you're telling me.
Here's the other issue. Our 3-day event is the weekend before that.
Okay, so drive both. Where's the issue?
You want to sponsor me some tires? I'm down. I'll come to both.
No, I'm not doing that. I mean, you should have been on this. We talked about this. You've had years to develop a program. You should have the best highlight reel out there.
Exactly.
I'm just saying. Well, don't drive Grid Life. Go experience. And don't. I had this conversation with fucking Brian the other night. Don't be the guy who's like, I don't go to drift events if I can't drive them, because you did it for 2 seasons of FD. Remember that.
It does suck going without your car.
100% sucks. But the fact that you like have no, and I know you're not a drinker or party or anything, but the fact that you don't have any responsibilities and you can still hang out with all those pros
cool.
that you have clout with. Remember this. Like, just be like, yeah, I don't know. You probably don't remember me, but like I was with Riley Sexsmith, and they're like, oh yeah, I do that all the time. I tell Riley that too. I'm like, hey, by the way, I'm going to use your name to do this. And he's like, yeah, okay.
His name drop.
Why not? Like, you just don't be a dick about it. Like, you're just not like, guess who I am? Like, you.
It's like every time I talk to Human, I'm like, I'm sure you don't know who I am, but
he probably remembers you though. I feel like Human would remember you.
Yeah.
But
I like him a lot. He's a good dude.
I love Human. I love Human and Jonathan. I mean, I truly miss hanging out with those guys.
Yeah.
Such a dynamic duo. Sure.
They're fucking fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, drive Matt Siri, go to Grid Life.
So that's a big issue for me too, is I really want to go to LS Fest, whether I drive it or not. But I've never been to a Grid Life. So
I've never been to LS Fest, but I can almost assure you more people. I think, see, I don't know though, because here's the thing. You're not the concert and party guy, and you wouldn't like the music that's being played. So that might be, no, I mean, serious, but like that might be enough for you to be like, man, no Wu-Tang? Like, no Wu-Tang?
No Wu-Tang?
I know. I had to. But I mean, I feel like there's some artists that you would have loved fucking Ludacris. I think you would have been all about that. But anyways, I'm just saying.
Have you been to an LS Fest?
I haven't, no.
Okay. Matt doesn't like LSs, and he enjoyed LS Fest.
But Matt also hasn't been to Grid Life, so that's not a fair comparison.
No, where I'm going with this though is I don't like car shows. I work on cars every day, so like I see a lot of nice cars.
Yeah.
So I go to a car show, it's kind of rough.
More of the same.
Yeah, and less quality.
Weird flex, but okay.
Yeah, but no. So you go to LS Fest, and like everything is just sick. Like, it's the sickest car show I've ever been to by far.
So I will admit the car show portion 100% is going to be better than the one at Grid Life. But if you like race cars, the fucking Time Attack guys, dude, the Time Attack guys, to see what my favorite part is to see the progression of the guys who are there who are like doing HPDE, like stock car, maybe with some coils and brakes going out and doing stuff like that, all the way up to like the unlimited Time Attack, like 100 wings, like you know what I mean? But all of that is pitted together next to all the drift guys. That's the part, and they're like in 2 rows. You can just do a lap and see the change. That part for me is incredible. Like I almost do that lap every day that I'm there, and it's a walk. It's a solid. If you're stopping to look at shit, it's like 2 to 3 hours to do.
Okay.
Holy cow!
But I mean, like you can power through it in probably 30. You can actually, but you're not going to. You're not. You're gonna see some guy working on something and just be like, oh holy shit, man, that's crazy. Be like, yeah, it's nuts. Like, we're gonna swap the engine tonight, and they're like, okay, cool, man, have fun. Like there's always an engine swap going on. It's so cool. So anyways, I love grid life.
I've been meaning to shoot Dirk a message. So I was going to ask him how many tires I need and whatnot to run grid life. To see if it's even a possibility.
I mean, you'd have to get into a Swan. Swan's kind of the deciding factor. I don't know if they've announced the driver list, but like you do need to apply. I would still go through the proper means, but I would see if you can. I mean, dude, if you want the experience, like if you,
I'm just saying, I'm curious if I need like 18 tires, I can't swing it. It ain't gonna happen.
I would say 10 to enjoy it. And to enjoy it, I would say 10.
So,
I mean, you also have half the horsepower that Dirk does.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd be running twice the treadwear that he does also.
Yeah.
In theory, I would last a lot longer, but
I mean, here's the thing that lasting a lot longer. Off that note, trust me, you're gonna be driving with pros. You're gonna be wanting to blow your wad every. You'll be like, fucking another set. We can do 2 sets this session. Like, let's just go. We're gonna have to build hot pits for you if you go to Good Life, because you're just gonna pull in like, I'm not even getting out. I got to pee. I'll just piss in the suit. Like,
well, that means you have to get Dave a radiator that actually stays cool when he hot laps.
Oh man, I just put 2 of them. I don't know.
Stack them.
I need a couple of them Mishimoto race fans is what I hear.
Yeah. The wind that comes off those things is crazy. But I mean, I'll see what I can do, Dave. Give me, I should, okay. So here's this. I shouldn't even be saying this. I have been toying around with the idea of like properly sponsoring and like finding a driver to like be their representative as a like complete full sponsorship. You run my company colors, but I will do all of your marketing for you. And just to see what I can like. Here's the issue. Here's the issue I'm running into.
You need somebody to practice with.
Well, no. As a rule, I very much don't like doing business with friends. I try not to because like,
for sure.
And not that I don't support friends, I do, but I don't like doing business with them because I think it can become a problem. It can become a problem very quickly. So I don't necessarily want to find a friend who's already doing well and be their sponsor and just be like, I'm going to run all your media and your marketing and like figure out find young photographers that are going to be cheap and make sure they're at your races and like talk to sponsors about you. I want to do that because I want to see what I can do. Same thing in like a well set up car, same idea, but in marketing. Right. But at 1, I don't want to use a friend. And 2, it's like, fuck, what if it doesn't work? what if I get into an LS powered car and it goes terribly, or a properly built car and it goes terribly? Like, no, I really have a shitty drifter.
What you're saying is we're not friends, right? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I heard.
I would very much like to, I think what I would like to do is just open, like, I would like to do some sort of meeting or a seminar, even once a month, take an hour or 2 out and just have people ask questions. And not that my answer is going to be perfect, but I'll give you as much insight as I have, which is more than most people who are a driver who's never been sponsored. Now, I'm not framing myself as like the end all be all expert of like, this is how you do this. I'm aiming myself at like, I am definitely above your knowledge base, but I am still very much actively learning what I need to do. So I think that is sometimes better than some guy who is the absolute expert because Wayne Gretzky is not going to teach you how to skate, right? Like it's beneath him, right? Do you guys even know who Wayne Gretzky is?
Yes.
Okay. Fuck. Okay.
Wow.
Matt, seriously?
Bro.
What? What do you mean? I don't know if he's serious.
I think he is.
What do you want to say?
You got to remember, I live pretty close to Canada. Matt doesn't even know what ice is. So
Wayne Gretzky is arguably the greatest hockey player of all time. He is the Michael Schumacher. He is the whatever of hockey.
You know Tony Hawk? You ever heard of him?
Yeah.
Tony who?
Yeah. Okay. Anyways,
Travis Pastrana.
So, fuck. Anyways, my thought process is Tony Hawk is not going to teach you how to skateboard. He could, but you go to Tony Hawk to learn like how do I mean, yeah, arguably. I mean, not that I don't think he's ever going to do one again. He's at that age now. But yeah,
pulled one off not that long ago.
I know, but I thought he said, "This is it. This is like this could be the last one." So,
Yeah.
he was tired.
He's old.
He's old. He's fucking old.
Legit.
Yeah,
He's like pushing 60.
I know. He's killing it.
60.
He's
Yeah.
like 50 something. I think.
But he still looks like he still looks a young 60. You're like,
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, for his age.
yeah. But anyways, someone's like, "Oh, your sound levels keep going up and down." I'm like, "Yeah, because my microphone's like, calm the fuck down. Like, bring it down a little bit, bud."
You start breaking up in my headset and stuff. And
I get loud. I need to like step away when I scream. I'm sorry. I get excited. Anyways, so my thought process is, because I'm still in much the journey of learning all of this marketing stuff. I think it would be neat to take what I know now and have an experiment per se to see where I'm at now and see where I need to get better at it. So it's something I've been thinking about, but alternatively, I think what I'd like to do is try and set up like a 1 hour or 1.5, maybe 2 hour seminar where people who are interested in racing, who want to talk about marketing, about how to get sponsored, like how do I approach brands, what are some techniques. I think I'd like to do that. I just need to.
I love the idea.
Yeah, I think it's a piece of knowledge that nobody's talking about. And I actually went to a seminar. I mean, I can't remember her name. I think her name is Megan. She's a Top Fuel dragster racer she's semi-retired. She's pregnant right now. I think a little irresponsible. I'm glad that she's not racing as pregnant. Anyways, her body, her choice. I don't know what to say. I've backed myself into a fucking corner here.
Just digging.
Just stop talking about it. Anyway, she put on a seminar where, for her, it was a pitch thing where she got people to go to the seminar and then she sold her services. Arguably, I guess I could do that, but I don't have a representative model that I could say, hey, I don't feel comfortable charging somebody if I don't have somebody that I've done it for and it's been successful, right? Yeah. Like, it's hard to charge someone for an engine swap if you've never done it before, right?
Absolutely.
You could do it. You're kind of a dick if you do, but fake it till you make it, right? So,
with what you're saying there, I'm part of the Horsepower Academy. I don't know if you know of them or not. I bought something from them, so they'll send me emails every now and then, like, "Hey, we're doing a video on alignments."
Oh, cool!
Click on an email. It's the same thing. It's a webinar telling you about alignments, ask questions, stuff like that. So I have very minimal experience with something like that, but it's super awesome. Like, even if I don't learn something from it, which I usually do because you get random questions from people and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good idea. Like, if you do it, definitely let me know. I'll be down to watch, join. Whatever.
Yeah, I think this would probably be the best way to do it. I don't know if I should have everybody join in or just like I think maybe do a Zoom meeting, have a chat going where people can ask questions and I'll try and get back to them. And then if they want to jump on camera to discuss something, I can do that as well. I think that may be the best idea. We'll have
so the way they do it is they do their course, their video, whatever.
Yeah.
And then they take questions the same way you're doing on YouTube or whatever right now.
Okay.
And then try to answer the questions as they can. But you could have a couple people on there also bounce questions off you or whatever as you're going.
I think it'd be cool just to have somebody in from like another brand. Like I think it'd be cool to have somebody like Zach in from ECU Master or Chris or Chris who works there now. I think that would be really sweet. Just to be like, hey, like you and I are gonna spend 20 minutes discussing one particular topic. Like once again, like how to present or how to find sponsors or something. After that's done, people can jump in the chat and go from there. So yeah, I might do that.
I think it's a great idea for sure.
Yeah. Great. Cause I need another project.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. We'll see. I'd love to learn, bro. Anyways. Yeah, cool. Anything else? Like, we're already an hour and a half in. I don't know if you know that. I told you to plug in for the long haul on this one.
Holy cow.
It's crazy how fast it goes.
I want to talk about Formula Drift Lake Erie.
Yes. Successful.
Can we talk about why the Lake Erie media guy wasn't at the event?
Because I tried. Did I not?
Yeah, I know.
I got turned away at the border. I actually, not for this event. Okay. Oh no, I legitimately tried to cross the border about 3-4 weeks before that, and I got denied. So I gave it a shot. I did everything except for hop on a jet ski to get there. I probably could have flown and made it work that way. There's kind of a loophole in flying, but like I still would have had to quarantine for 2 weeks before the actual event.
Yeah.
So at that time, but anyways, fantastic event. I love that the course screwed up so many of the pro guys. I love that it threw them for a loop. Like, it was good. And,
like Dave and I were talking about like how they were struggling in practice and they had to move the course so that it was easier for the drivers to drive. And it's like part of the track is supposed to be a challenge for the drivers. If they make it so that the course can be a 100-point run for everyone, then what's the challenge? Like, it's going to be the same run for everyone. Everybody can do a 100-point run if it's an easy track.
Yeah.
So make it a challenge.
We roped off a section of the stands for our local drifters, and it happened to be right in front of the
Spotters.
Yes. And Papa Mama Kisses was up there when they were talking about changing the track. And he's like, just tell the guys to drive better.
Right.
Everybody's driving the same track. Like, tell them to drive better. And he's 100% right. Don't make the track easier. Make them drive.
That's funny. He's such.
I mean, he was talking to Lantane, and he was like, he's like, this is the track that they've been given to drive. Like, if you want to move it. Because Lantane was like asking all the spotters what their drivers want to do, if they wanted to move it or not.
And the majority wanted to move it because they wanted an easier track. Yeah.
So, and in an interview with Vaughn, he even said, it's like, it's kind of a funky flow, the first turn or whatever, but like, it's, it's a good, whatever. So Vaughn mentioned the fact that he didn't care for the way that it was flowing off of the bank to outer zone 2.
I think he made a comment, though, that they all had to drive the same track, so it didn't matter. Him or Johnson made that comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it just because like the speed change was so drastic and then you had to accelerate out of that, or what do you?
The way the chicane was laid out, you had to hit the outer too quick, so you had to like just chop everything and stop and then power out.
Okay. There's no way to carry speed.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't Rome say it was like a 70 mile an hour difference from the bank to outer 2?
Yeah, they were like 90 on the bank and 30 in the inner.
Jesus.
Something like that.
That's a big jump, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, Dave and I talked to a lot of the drivers, and they're all like, coming out to Lake Erie Speedway in the middle of Nowheresville, they're expecting it to be like some hole in the wall place with nothing around it. Everything is, wood stands and, no bathrooms or what, like, and like,
they thought it was going to be Florida.
Yeah, they thought it was.
They said that. Like, thought it was going to be Orlando or Jersey or Wall. But they're like, this place is pretty rad, all things considered. Matt Field had some complaints about the pits, and that's something that they're talking about doing or whatever. But the judges
just not paved, like not enough paved area.
Yeah, so they have strips of pavement, but like in between the strips, there's just dirt sections that normally you'd pull your truck onto, and the trailer would be on the asphalt type thing.
The big problem was it poured Thursday on load-in day.
Oh,
so it was muddy.
If it wouldn't have poured, they probably wouldn't have even complained about it. But yeah.
But all the drivers who like the track, they said the like the layout was good, and that they were like that they want to come back next year. And we're talking to them about doing Dave's idea was talking about doing a pro bro down, and on Saturday or Sunday, have them just stay the night, because the event doesn't end until like 11 o'clock at night. So they're going to be there until the next day anyways before they leave. Yeah. So it's like, you're already here. Why not spend an extra, whatever, couple sets of tires, come out here and turn your cars down a bit and drive with some local guys. I think that'd be wild.
Yeah. A lot of them seem pretty stoked on it too. So.
Yeah. I mean, build it and they will come, right? Like that's even if Pro Bro Down Day has like no pros, or you get a couple of, it's a little bit nicer when the Pro 2 guys are there too, or the Pro Spec guys, because they are more likely to take that seat time. But if you can get some commitments out of them, I think it depends too on when it lands travel wise. Like, I think there was enough of a break that it would have been fine. Obviously, if there's an event 2 weeks out, the chances are slim, but I think a lot of factors have to play into it. But if you go into it with that mindset, then why not, right?
Yeah. I was actually pushing it kind of hard on everybody, and I got a lot of good feedback on it. So
yeah, that's good. We'll talk with AJ.
Yeah. AJ's all in. He's
dude, I love how pro drifting he is.
He is
the best.
Phenomenal. It's
the
wild.
Best. Yeah.
He's definitely like a huge blessing for this whole drifting community in a 2-hour radius of the Erie Speedway. Like him letting us do the things we do. No one in their sane mind that has insurance would allow us to do the things you let us do. I mean, it's just ignorance.
It's okay. So here's the thing. The drifting events that I used to go to, they no longer exist in Canada for a good reason.
I was gonna say, there's a reason.
There's a solid reason why. I've talked about it numerous times, and all my Ontario friends already know what I'm talking about. It was called Top Drift, and it was literally a no rules, no inspection drifting event. The safety meeting.
The one where the kid rolled his mom's car that was like 2 months old.
Yeah, and dude.
What? I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, and Aaron Lousy came up and did a video on it. It's like an hour long, and it is insane. Like I that one's tough to watch. I mean, that much Aaron all at once is a lot for me. I like Aaron, but that's a lot of Aaron for that period of time.
Think about it. Send me the link to that video.
I will, because like he goes to Canada, he meets up with some friends of mine. They're in the video, and you see what this event is truly like. We're like literally the drivers' meeting. Everybody sits on the stands. The guy who ran it would come out and be like, "All right, here's the drivers' meeting. Please have a fucking fire extinguisher. Like, please just have one. Like, don't be dicks. Okay, single lines here, tandem lines there, and if you like, don't make me talk to you, please. Like, if you're spinning it too much, get off the track." All right, cool. That's it. Thanks, guys. That's it. That is the drivers' meeting. I swear to God, I just did it. The whole thing.
Unreal.
I like the sounds of this.
No car inspection whatsoever. Nothing. There was not a single. Please do not bring up the Canadian Lone Star video. Someone just said, "Sorry, buddy. I did." It's. Anyways, the event. No inspection, bonfires. No matter what, there was no pit. Like you made camp or you made camp. People were fucking sleeping in the rows and shit. It was insane. In gigantic bonfires, fireworks, people running around on dirt bikes till like 2 a.m. and doing shit. It was nuts. The whole thing was on a reserve where like reserves made weed legal before Canada did, and like there was just like pot shops everywhere, as much weed as cheap as possible. It was insane. It was mind-boggling and insane. And guys, that's where like it created so many amazing drifters. There was no run groups, there was no schedule. You 9 o'clock track went hot, didn't stop till 5. That's it.
Wow. It's like Wild Wild West.
Nuts. And 2 days was $180. Like, and there was like 3 guys there with tire machines. There's one guy who shows up with an S2000 with a V10 in it, and just with like,
what?
I don't know if it's a truck V10 or a Viper V10. I can't remember. But anyways, he would show up with like, no word of a lie, 35, 40 rims with half burns on them. And that's all he would run. Just all day. Full send, third gear, just that V10 and half burns exploding everywhere. It was, dude, it was beautiful. It was drifting nirvana, but it was so scary because guys are just run. You could be like a C class driver having guys with like 400 horsepower running your door, just to fuck with you. Like, yeah, let's go. Like, let me around. You spun out. People were drifting past you. There was no flaggers. I think there was one yellow flagger, and nobody fucking cared. Every event, a car would get rolled because the track and the wall had a gap of about this big with dirt. So if your tire dipped into that, if you didn't hit the wall at angle and you tried to like side run it, your tire would get sucked in. It would smash your rear end around. Your front end would come around and you hit that and spin. And it was brutal. It would suck people in all the time. So you had to have commitment. If you tried to drive along it, you get pulled into that gap and you're fucked. So if you're hitting the wall, you're hitting it at angle or your car's done forever.
Wow.
So much fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, Viper V10 running 215s on a stock rear suspension on that S2000.
Oh my God.
That's insane.
So if anybody's listening who hasn't seen them, I have a bunch of Top Drift videos. Some of them are like just me testing. I'll try and find a good one. I'll put a link to it where it's like this one shows all the insanity. But dude, the fact that they let me run the cars that I brought, the Turbo Coupe subframe was falling out of it. Like the last event we were there, we had to like rest it back onto the subframe and then went out on track. We jacked it up and it started to like come down. I'm like, okay, just put it back down. Like oh my God, I shouldn't be saying this, but it's in a video. I took a jerry can and turned it into a fuel cell because my stock tank had rusted out.
Oh, jeez.
What?
I have pictures of me running it in the car. With a Walboro 255, I cut the top off of the normal fuel tank, took the hanger, cut a hole in a jerry can, like this flipped on its side, put the whole hanger assembly in. No, sorry, it was a boat. It was a boat jerry can because it could sit horizontally. So I just cut the top off and then like screwed it in with nuts and bolts and RTV onto the top of it and had the hanger in there. It worked perfect. It was great.
I mean, you didn't die, so.
Yeah.
I should have. So Boonies Bash 2019 is what my buddy Sean's saying. So anyways, dude, fucking insane. It's gotten a little bit better now. Anyways, I talk about the new owners too much, but yes, Lake Erie would not allow that level of shenanigans, but I agree.
No.
You guys send it
like,
super hard.
AJ, like seeing how he welcomes all of the new people in and like how open he is to things that are like break the rules, but like understands that like the guys that are on staff are not total idiots. Yeah. And can like kind of help manage things. It's, you know, he's like, okay, guys, you can only send 7 cars. 32 car trains later, you know.
There's 7
I mean, what? 7 cars.
Well,
and you know, it's like
it's a confidence thing too, though. Like the drivers do well, and he has confidence in the decision making of the teams that are running things, as well as the drivers to be able to do it.
Maybe I shouldn't say that. I was gonna say our regular events are they're pretty good.
Yeah.
The private events, he lets us get away with some stuff.
I mean, it's a little different. It's a little different.
Yeah. You go back on my Instagram, you can see what I'm talking about.
I
know you know what I'm talking about.
I know. Anyways,
yeah.
I keep an eye. So I do have to ask. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
But like, AJ brought out like the big wigs of Lake Erie Speedway, like the owners and investors or whatever.
Yeah.
And like seeing the crowd interaction, like that versus other types of motorsports that are there was cool, you know? So it's like selling out the stands at the very first event that they had there with like, you know, a completely new to the area motorsport, I think is a pretty good sign of the interest that, you know, the local community has in drifting.
Yeah.
And this was just like a trial year, like, you know, just to see if it's worth it. But I mean, based on talking to Lantane and Lau and, you know, a couple of other guys, it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't really see why I wouldn't be interested in coming back next year. You know, even with talking to the drivers saying that they'd want to come back next year. Yeah. You know, it's a surreal thing because like driving there in person and then seeing the event in person and then going on Torque Drift and driving at the track that everything just happened at. Yeah. Like, and knowing it's just a weird thing that's been a long time in the works since before me. I mean, I've only been on staff for what, like 2 years now, but I mean, I've been driving for 6 and driving there for like 5. Yeah. You know, so it's guys that have been around way longer than me. This has been something that's been in the works, and it's crazy for me. You know, it's like imagine what it's been like for some of these other guys that have just been begging for it to be a thing for a long time. And I kind of blame COVID for it a little bit. You know, I led eliminating some of the other options. You know, and having it be like, you know, Lake Erie as kind of I'll just say last resort, but then realizing that it's actually a legit situation.
Yeah.
Another thing I thought was really awesome when I was talking to the pro drivers, I tell them about our local events. And when I told them we have to cap our events at 150 cars, they were blown away. Like,
that we can get 150.
It's normal. We have to cap at 150 cars.
Yep.
Like a lot of events, they beg for 30 cars and we're kind of in the middle of nowhere. So it's crazy.
Well, I mean, on top of that, it was like we were talking about what it costs to drive for 3 full days. And we're like, that's what some tracks charge for 1 day.
Yeah, like 4 hours a day, not even a whole
day. Right.
Yeah,
for like 5 or 6 hours in a day. And, you know, there'll be times where the track goes hot at 9 o'clock in the morning and doesn't stop until 11 p.m. And that's 1 day, you know, whereas, you know, a lot of the other tracks, it's just a few hours. So, I mean, plus like you get to stay at the track overnight, which, you know, once the track goes cold, it's a completely different atmosphere. I'm assuming it's as similar as grid life. Yeah. Once the track goes cold, That's when, you know, all the brewskis come out, all the conversations, the memories, the videos of that day, like all of that stuff. And then waking up, getting a waffle chicken sandwich at Rusty Wheel and doing it all over again. You know, like it's a thing, man. It's something that's a lot of people don't really understand until they try it or do it. And I mean, we've had people come from the Carolinas, from up in Michigan, from, you know, people that are driving.
A lot of farther. Canadians. Yeah. I mean, when we could, there was a ton of Canadians that came out.
Because of the fact that they can drive for 3 days. Yeah. If it was a 1 day event, it was not worth it, you know. But if you can go spend $180 and you get 3 days of driving and you get 25 hours of drive time or whatever the heck it is, like it's worth it. I mean, you get more drive time in 1 full day of driving there than a lot of other events, and that's with 150 drivers.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's worth the bang is worth the buck there for sure. And I mean, I know a lot of those guys probably don't like me, especially after the last podcast, but like I deal with a lot of racetracks now. I mean, almost a dozen different tracks that I'm speaking with management and teams there and things like that. And yeah, like a lot of those comments were directed at those tracks, not at Lake Erie. The only stuff that I think came out of that I would have directed on it is something that I think is across the board, which is like the mentorship, don't shit on the new kids, you know, stuff like that. And I'm not saying that's a thing that is running rampant through the Drift Pahoney guys. It's just that these are things we need to keep in mind as we continue to do stuff. Unless you actually did leave your tires there, and then you're a fucking piece of shit. And I am talking to you. Yeah. If you did do that, you're a dick. I don't care. Feel bad. Be mad. Because like that's unacceptable.
Agreed.
Unless they have a rule for it. Unless there's like, no, we accept them. I mean, in that case, it's fine. But I don't think AJ's super happy about any of that happening.
No,
definitely don't have a rule for that.
Yeah, 0% okay with that.
Yeah, I think you gotta make money off them.
Yeah. I would say like the drifting community as a whole is a very welcoming group. But the first drift clinic that we did, there was parents that had come with their kids that were like either not old enough to drive or old enough, but you know, parents kind of wanted to be there, whatever. Mm-hmm. And they were expecting it to be like every other type of motorsport, where it's kind of like close, you know, secrets hold to the chest, like, you know, you can come out and drive, but don't tell anybody anything, or, you know, I'm not going to tell you my alignment settings or whatever. And the parents had come up to us and they're like, this was like a breath of fresh air and not what I was expecting. And this is coming from parents who don't even understand the motorsport, looking at a bunch of hood rat kids that like to do skids, right? So like, it's just a weird thing that I don't really know too many other tracks that do drift clinics where it's okay to come out and suck and not be embarrassed about it. And, you know, the fact that you have kids' parents saying these things about it, I think is just refreshing and at the end of the day rewarding, seeing them barely don't know how to drive stick at the beginning of the day, and at the end of the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, them, you know, being stoked they got to link the whole track and go home and tell all of their friends, and then their friends come. You know, it's like, and they don't know any better. That's the thing. Like that's right. They don't, if they don't know how to drive, then they don't know any better. And like the price for the drift clinics is actually pretty good considering it's only like a handful of people. I don't. How many people do we have? Do you have like 20 people maybe?
Something like that. And you get a ton of seat time.
Yeah.
And there's 3 or 4 different disciplines. You know, so if you have, you know, 4 different disciplines with 20 people, that's 5 people to each discipline, and there's at least 1 staff at each one of the disciplines. So it's like, you know, you get 8 hours of daytime to seat time to go drive, and you have, you know, something that's not difficult to something more difficult to link the track type thing. And so I don't know, I'm rambling at this point, but I just think it's definitely something that's worth checking out for sure if you're at all within the local area, and don't be ashamed to, you know, give it a go if it's something you've ever wanted to try.
Is there any way to like run a higher level one as well? Like, I mean, where you could bring in somebody like Dirk and be like, hey, this is for the guys who are like 400, you know, like the 300 to 600 horsepower guys, where it's like, you know how to run the line. Now we're going to start, you know, talking about how to properly aim a corner, how to properly tandem where you should be looking, things along those lines. Like, do you think that'll ever become a thing?
Yeah, we've been discussing like an A
drift clinic. Yeah. I mean, I just didn't know, like, based on how the track is set up, if you could run both at the same time, and then that just gives that.
Oh,
that
at the same time, probably not. We were talking about just doing an A clinic.
Okay.
I know Chelsea does them. Dirk probably would do one. Like,
yeah. I mean, I just think it'd be that's the next step, right? And then we get to the point where like FDs or where AJ's getting shootouts, and then we can get people getting their license, and then next thing you know, Dave's in Formula Drift.
Shootouts have been discussed.
Shootouts have been discussed.
I'm not a huge fan of them, but they've been discussed.
I mean, but if it means you getting your fucking pro spec license, I'm sure you could like turn the other cheek.
Oh,
All right. So I'd be amiss if I didn't ask, and we might have to wrap up on that because we're just about to hit 2 hours. What is Heckin' Good Boys? Because I mean, that was the question I posed. What is Heckin' Good Boys?
Oh.
So Matt is a Heckin' good boy. He's I'm trying to put it as well as I can. He's a church going, doesn't party too hard. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Like doesn't cause a ruckus, whatever.
Doesn't cause a ruckus.
I myself, I generally am fairly quiet. I don't drink too much. I don't party too hard. Generally, sometimes it happens, but whatever. Neither one of us really swear. It's just kind of a weird coincidence, and we were throwing around names and whatnot, and kind of just stuck.
Fair enough.
Like one of the concepts is like we're a group that isn't just specifically about driving. We care about people, and like if you totally suck at driving, there's going to be groups that aren't going to let you in.
Yeah.
That aren't going to want you to whatever. And there's guys that we know that are good, genuine dudes that we want to associate ourselves with, even though they might not go out there and be able to run the wall.
This guy.
I want to give all our teammates a shout out too. And
yes,
I'll
please.
start with Sam because I believe that's where we're going there. Sam's a okay B driver. He's not running the wall. He's not trying to run doors. He just likes to drive. Super nice guy. He's part of our team.
Nice.
We're do our best to get him running doors with us and whatnot. Then we have Alex and Ray, who both drive LS swapped Zs. Both also super good guys.
Z and a
G, same thing.
Yeah.
Bigger Z. Yeah.
But yeah, they're just all good guys. And like Matt said, we don't want elitist drivers, anything like that. Just a genuinely good group of guys. And if somebody needs help, come grab any of us, because any of us are going to help you out to the best we can, regardless. If it's you need to change your tire, we'll help you out. If you just need advice, you need a part, whatever.
Yeah.
And honestly, I bring like half of my parts to the track, and it's a rare occurrence when I don't have something that somebody needs when I bring my trailer. Because I got like a whole toolbox, like front box in my trailer, and I literally have everything from transmissions to differentials to suspension arms, sensors. I mean, all
like a little
it.
Drift HQ over there.
I was going to say he's got more stuff from Drift HQ does.
That's funny.
I mean, and it's initially was for me because I didn't ever want to be the guy that was broke that couldn't drive.
Yeah.
And here I am, broke guy that can't freaking drive. So I just help everybody else. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy it, like being the person that's like, yes, I have that suspension arm, and they're like realizing they can continue to drive.
Yeah.
It's like that weight off of their shoulders, like, oh yes.
What was rough for me at the last event, I've gotten used to leaning on Matt, and I'm like, oh shit, I need a ball joint. Oh, I don't have one.
Oh, that's too funny. Yeah, you have to start just keeping around for that. But like, you're bringing your trailer, right? Like, yeah, you're coming too, though.
No car, just a trailer.
Yeah, you can't come. Do you think your wife could bring it out? Like, just drop it off the night. You know what? I'll come get it. I'll just come get it. So.
Well, and that was actually a thing, is I had a LS in a truck in the back, and Tony Schmidt, he blew up his 5.3, and he was like, hey, like, you want to sell that thing? And I said, yeah. And he was going to drive from Erie to my house to pull the engine out of my truck.
Jesus.
So as it turned out, he ended up finding another way to get an engine.
Yeah.
But that was the plan.
Nice.
Like,
that's
literally going and getting, they happened to have a 5.3 in a truck in my backyard.
Just hanging out.
So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool, man. Well, I'm really happy we got to do this. As much as I don't want to cut it short, I mean, I have to pee so bad. I mean, literally, I drank 2 liters of liquids, which I know
Is
you
that
guys
like
are
one
like.
cup?
Yeah, it's like one.
Is that
cup.
like a couple tablespoons?
Did you have that high quality H2O though?
Oh, nice. See,
Wow.
Dave's been listening. Dave's been listening.
Product placement, baby.
Yeah, that's good. Cool. Do you guys want to do any like Instagram shout outs or anything like that where people can find out more about Heckin Good Boys or you guys?
We don't have an Instagram for the for the team yet. Mine is DriftDave51 on Instagram.
Nice. Matt, what's your?
I mean, we do have a Facebook page, which our Facebook page has an exceptionally a lot of interaction for a group that posts absolutely nothing and has one subscriber.
Oh.
So it's pretty wild. But yeah, that's just Heckin Good Boys. Heckin Good Boys on Facebook.
It's pretty wild.
Dude, it is. It makes no sense. Like every day we get like 5 or 7 more likes, and there's been 0 interactions and no posts for like a year.
Yeah, we do got to start putting some posts up for sure.
Yeah, we should probably fix that.
I put Matt in charge of that, and it didn't go so well.
Oh, come on. I mean, I guess I'm the one outside of the car that's watching the person in the car, so I probably should think about that. But anyways, yeah, my Instagram is just Matt_Papow, P-A-P-O-W.
Nice. Is that for a reason? P-A-P-W?
I pointed that myself.
Yeah, is it like Pennsylvania, Ohio? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like my last name is Powell and Powell. I don't know.
I got it.
Yeah.
I like it. Whenever people like ask me about my last name, I'm like, oh, it's Gettins, like get well the Gettin's good. And they're always like, oh, I like that. I'm like, you're not gonna forget it now, that's for sure. So all right, I'm gonna end the stream, and then you and I we can all just talk privately afterwards after the stream's over. I can actually make sure that I do record it. So anybody watching, thank you. For everybody listening, appreciate listening to Piss Night Podcast. Make sure if you didn't hear the other one, listen to the one where I piss everybody off, because that was good. Yeah, check out, I'm trying to think what I'll have videos wise. I'll have my last drifting event video up eventually, so that'll be up soon. So sorry, I gotta do my shameless self plugs
real quick before you jump off. The last Enviado dove in the electric car,
the Tesla.
Yeah, I like that.
That was fun, huh? Yeah. I wish I could. It's anyway. We'll talk about that because I'm going there. I'm going there on Friday. I'm going there on Friday, so I'm gonna. We got a couple other ideas coming up, but yeah, that was a fun one.
I just wanted to give Enviado the shout out too.
You know what? I had their sweater on earlier. I should have put it back on. I get too hot. I get excited and I sweaty, and it's not good.